Having a working sitemap in your Shopware 6 store is very important for search engines like Google and Bing to fully index all your product, category and other pages in your store. In this tutorial, I want to show you how it works. Have fun! Welcome ladies and gentlemen, it's Alexander from Shop Studio and let's talk a little bit about sitemap. And let's create one in your Shopware 6 afterwards. Alright, first things first. What is a sitemap? A sitemap is basically a big virtual list which contains all your pages like product pages, category pages, landing pages, even the home page. Search engines like Google and Bing can easily find all of them. It really makes a difference regarding the search engines, if they, for example, randomly access all your pages and might skip some of your important product or category pages, or if you provide a complete list where the search engines just have to go through each entry one by one. So really nothing special. But there are some good news for Shopware owners. If you're using Shopware, probably your sitemap is already working because the sitemaps are installed by default and you can find them if you, for example, visit your shop URL and then you, for example, delete the path and you enter sitemap.xml. Now you press enter, and if you see a similar site in the XML language, then your sitemap should work, and maybe you should at least see one entry. I want you to tell a little bit more about sitemaps. For example, if you go to the Shopware administration and now you go to the settings, and at the bottom you can see the sitemap settings. Here I want to explain two options. The first thing is that, for example, we can set the refresh interval, but this is important in combination with the refresh strategy. So first, I want to explain the refresh strategy a little bit. With the refresh strategy, you can say how the sitemap is generated. For example, we can say, and I do not recommend this option, at least if you are a Shopware owner without the help of a developer, that you can set it to manually. And manually means that you need to log in into the server and to enter a specific command manually into the terminal. And here, if you click on this help box, you can see the command. So this is one, bin console sitemap generate. And I want to show you one example. I'm now using a SSH client and basically I'm logged in into the store, but into the server directly. And here we can see our Shopware installation. And to refresh a sitemap manually, we need to paste the command bin console sitemap generate, and we can see generating sitemap for sales channel with language, done. As you can see, this specific refresh strategy is only useful if you are working with a developer or if you are a developer yourself. Let's talk about the next refresh strategy called live. This one is very easy because the sitemap gets refreshed in the moment the crawler is visiting the sitemap.xml page. So let's simulate it. I refresh a page and the sitemap gets regenerated. But maybe you're asking, what if, for example, I refreshing the page 1000 times? Yes, this could be a problem, and that's why, for example, we have this refresh interval here. With a refresh interval, it's possible to say how often the sitemap gets refreshed. In this case, it's 3600 seconds, and this is 1 hour. Thus, even if you click 1000 times or refresh the page 1000 times, the sitemap gets only regenerated once an hour. Where's the drawback? The drawback about the live refresh strategy is if you have, for example, 10,000 products or even 100,000 products or more and many category pages and many landing pages and sub pages, it takes a long time. It might even be that it will take 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, maybe 10 minutes and more to generate the sitemap. It really depends on your server resources and how strong, for example, your CPU is and how fast your hard disks are, and etc. Normally, the web servers have something called a timeout. For example, if a page needs more than 1 minute, the web server blocks the request and you get an error. But if your sitemap takes, for example, longer than 1 minute and the search engine crawler is visiting and regenerating the sitemap because you're using the refresh strategy live, it might be the case that after 1 minute the crawler sees an error and that your whole sitemap or all your subpages and products is not valid anymore, and of course this can lead to problems. For bigger shops, it makes sense to switch to scheduled refresh strategy. With a scheduled refresh strategy, it's possible to regenerate the sitemap in the background, similar to the manually. And for example, you can say that you want to regenerate it once a day, or maybe once an hour, or maybe once a week. It really depends on the size of your shop. The good thing about this refresh strategy is that even if it takes longer time, 5 minutes, 1 hour or more, this is not a problem because there isn't something like a timeout for background tasks. This means the next time the search engine visits your page, he will get the page instantaneously without waiting seconds or minutes. Okay, from the administration point of view, there's nothing really to tell anymore, but I have one last thing for you. Of course, you now have this nice sitemap here, and it might be the case that the search engine can, for example, visit the sitemap in XML by their own and crawl all the subpages which are included in the sitemap. But it really makes sense to tell your search engines upfront where to find the sitemap.xml page. And additionally, you can do this with the help of the Google Search Console. You can create a free account in your Google Search Console, and on the left side in the navigation, there's an item called Sitemaps. And here you can submit the sitemap URL and let, for example, in this case, Google crawl the sitemap. The good thing about this page is, for example, if you see some of our sitemaps, you can see, for example, if a sitemap is successful, how many URLs were discovered, when it was submitted, and when the last read occurred. That's it for the tutorial. Hopefully you have learned a little bit more about sitemaps. I think they are not that complicated. If you have enjoyed this tutorial, do not forget to subscribe to the channel or leave a like or review below. We see us in the next tutorial. Bye!